The most common reason people check out our church is because someone invited them. And the most common reason people have left the church in recent times is because of fear or laziness as a result of the COVID-19 virus. And they just don't feel connected anymore. So for us, more simply, I think, relationships and loneliness is why many attend church. And I know that after 2020, in the church shutdowns, many are still home and many are just so lonely. And relationships is how we are wired up, and we are created in the image of God. And I'm going to assure you today that He is a relational God, and He wants to spend time with you, as do we in the church. My name is Pastor Jim Wallace. I'm at Crossroads International Church. I'm on staff there, right in South Attleboro, Mass. And there's a lot of conversation about church attendance patterns these days and how it affects and how we measure, how we retain people, and the length of time it takes for a guest to connect with us. And it's a new reality, and new people connect more slowly than in the past, or maybe that's not the case. Maybe they're looking to connect more quickly. I think that's more accurate. And they did disconnect even so more quickly than we've previously experienced. It's a double-edged sword. It takes longer for new people to make a decision to come every week, and maybe why? Because they moved on somewhere else to try on that. They look at churches in the Chinese menu fashion. I can go here for this, I can go there for that. And as I said earlier, the best connection factors are relationally based. And we depend on each other, and we depend on attendance to get some of those connection factors accomplished. And I can't do that, for me anyway, if I'm attending, say, 3 or 4 campuses over a week. And we can't change culture. What people will say that, but I don't know. I think we can, and I think we should. And here are some of the reasons why people attend church less frequently than they used to, and not in any particular order. Here's the first one: online and televangelism. In other words, on television evangelism and Bible teachings are provided 24/7 a day on demand. They're always going, and so if I'm watching that and if I'm getting my input from that, why do I have to attend a building or a campus, right? Families are busier more than ever. Their demands on their job, they're traveling, their kids play sports on Sunday mornings, and they're just busy, and people are on the go nearly 7 days a week now. There's no shutting down. We're just very busy. A lot of people also work Sundays, and these are reasons that maybe people aren't coming back either. People are getting bored faster than lightning. If a guest attends a church and gives off even a hint of being out of date, not fresh, seen this before, in some way it's irrelevant to them, they're gone in a second. They don't like the music, they don't like the speaker. I mean, for us, we try to keep a variety in the speakers, and we keep the music fresh. And through the summer, we had a different speaker almost every week, as we did a whole overview on the stories of Jesus, including myself. And the problem we have is that we often get sucked into the thing of trying to compete with other local assemblies, but that isn't the body of Christ, and we're not supposed to be in the business of competing or finding competing as the answer. So we don't want to be getting caught into that as little local assemblies where I have to look down the street and say, gee, they're doing this, so I'm going to do this. And we might be wise to focus a little less on why people don't come and invest more energy into why people do come back to church. Focusing on what the church does best is a better approach and a smarter approach. And doing it the way your church does it is the best way and smarter still. So here at Crossroads International Church, we're not in competition, and if you're watching this and you are in church leadership, do it the way you're doing it, and keep it tight, and keep it relational, and help people to want to come back. If you're somebody that's still sitting at home, and you know me, and you know the sound of my voice, you know, I'm going to now go over some of the reasons why you need to be back to church, and why you need to put your energy right there. And I hope it's Crossroads International Church. If it's not, wherever you attended, let's get back to church. 7 reasons why guests come back to church. They felt the presence of God. There's nothing more unmistakable, and nothing more than the awareness of the presence and power of God at work. It may be inspirational, filled with emotion, or it may be quiet and peaceful and stirring within. However it is experienced, the presence of God is felt. You cannot get that 100% of the time by yourself. And I'm not saying can't be done by yourself. I sure hope it's done by yourself. But the reality is we're supposed to be together as a body, celebrating God. And we do that, and we feel the presence of God. The presence of God. The key leaders are perceived as trustworthy. Guests come to your church with varying levels of being ready to trust leaders. Maybe they're slow to gain trust, especially with the leaders they encounter. And it's not surprising to me how quickly they discern if they want to trust you or not. You know, somebody can smell a hypocrite at about 100 paces, even if the message is solid and it's great scripturally based. But from one message or two, or a brief connection as they talk to me in the foyer, they are intuitive, and they've decided if or not they're going to trust you. And your level of authenticity and clarity of communication makes a huge difference in this process. And you're caring about people. By the way, come back and let's test that out. I'd love to see you right in the foyer. As people know, I talk to a lot of people in the foyer every Sunday. Why? Because I just love people. Number 3, the worship service is positive, relevant, biblically sound, and executed with heart and excellence. We're not trying to compete with other churches, and neither should you be. The important thing is to be the very best you can, and have excellence, and it doesn't matter what else is going on. We need a positive, clearly biblical, upbeat and communication of faith in an atmosphere of grace in our worship. And we need to worship God in spirit of the truth. We're all different, right? Some of us are very emotional in our worship, and others are very quiet, as I talked about that earlier. The volunteers and the congregation express real, authentic love and care. We need genuine love and attention that is unmistakable and irresistible. How will they know we're Christians? Church, by our love. When people encounter it, it's transforming. The source of that love is God. It's the expression and experience that come from people in a group of people, a congregation, and it should show up in your regular attenders, your volunteer leaders, and in your staff. And again, if they can't see our love, it's hard for them to measure if we are really the church, right? They hear current stories of life change. We connect a brief and creative communication of our purpose, our mission, our vision, and stories of life change every week. If you come out on Wednesday night, I'm doing a study, lessons from the farmer and the shepherd right now, and trust me when I tell you, I am like laying my life raw in front of people and telling them stories of some of the things I've experienced in my own life, as well as the people around me. These stories need to be communicated in creative ways. That's compelling, and that draws people back, because life change is inspiring, and it gives hope that they too can experience positive and spiritual oriented change. We need to get back to life application in our discussions. Every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, I'd love to see you there. Test drive me. If you're not willing to come out on a Sunday in the service, come out on a Wednesday. It's smaller, it's intimate, and we'll get to the bottom of what you need and try to find ways of applying good scripture or physical need provision to what's going on. There are no glaring shortcomings. There are no perfect churches. We all have wrinkles. We all have flaws. But there should be nothing that is an immediate turnoff or grossly out of line and makes people feel awkward or uncomfortable. We want clean nurseries. We want safe nurseries. We want children's ministry that's fun and crisp. We want worship sets that look like they are polished and not painfully unrehearsed. And it's something as simple as putting a fresh coat of paint or signage. We're going to fix that here, but wherever you are, we want to keep us, like not distracting people. We've had a church consultant. It's a pretty crazy thing. Bring one in. They're around. If you need to find one, call me. I'll connect you with this amazing brother, and he'll come around. He'll come in without you even know he's there, and then he'll sit with you and help you if you're in leadership. But again, back to number 7, probably interestingly the most important one. You're going to laugh if you're like me, 62 years old. The children's ministry is outstanding. It is said that the children's ministry leadership and the youth pastor are the most important leaders in the church. Now, I know that sounds funny. I'm a 30-year, just retired 5 years ago from youth ministry. I can't argue that. Each of our ministries do matter, but children's ministry is the one that receives the least grace from our guests. If you have a messed up children's ministry, and children don't feel like, parents don't feel like their children are getting what's best for them, and they're not maybe even protected. The parents are very protective, and they want what's best, and they don't know. They don't know or don't want to not know that there's bad things happening for their children after they drop them off. Guests will give an average service another shot, but if their child had a bad experience, they're not coming back. Invest great effort and energy in your children's ministry. There are elements that do inspire our guests to return. These give us opportunity to make deeper connections, and we want to do that. So I've given you 7 reasons. The most common paths to deep connection are small groups, serving opportunities, and deeper friendships. I want you to come back. I want you to come back to Crossroads International Church. I want you to get some of that. I know I need deeper friendships. I have just addressed this in the last 2 weeks. I know I can get you great serving opportunities, and our small groups are starting to take off again. All right, let's get back to the basics. Let's know that even though leading this local assembly, this local group of people, it's complicated, but hopefully spending time this morning breaking this down helps you to come back to church. And if you're in leadership again and you've been listening to this, that your leadership become more intentional, and you'll invest your energy in the best way. But if you're not back at Crossroads International Church, I need you back so you can invest your energy in the best way possible and not at home. All right, again, Pastor Jim Wallace, call me, text me, instant message me. I would love to talk about this individually with you. If you need to come back and you're not back and you have a concern, give me a call. I want to talk about it. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.